Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Orlando, and wow, we got a doozy for you on this one. The Ace family foreclosure. Now, I've been following this for a minute here, and I've got some extra stuff here that I want to put into it. So let's go ahead and jump into a video that had a lot of receipts on why they went into foreclosure and what you can learn from this. So let's jump into it.
The contractor who was on site, who created the relationship with Austin, who got Austin to basically be interested in the house, right? The guy who was there every day, he was not a licensed contractor and he was using someone else's contracting license, and we were unaware of it for 2 years, okay? So he lied to us and said that he's the contractor, but in reality, the real contractors was this contracting company called T&L Constructions. So they're the real contractors to this house and the only licensed contractors to this house.
So our builder just told us something and we're gonna have him re-say it for the video. I just think this is so funny. So go ahead.
So anyway.
The contractor they are referring to in their video is someone by the name of Avi Cochlany. Avi is the builder Austin originally approached to combine the two properties into a mega mansion.
Let me tell you what, guys, combining two houses into a mega mansion is probably not the smartest idea. First of all, you got two plots of land, everything is separated. It's a ginormous, a ginormous type of renovation. I would not suggest that to anyone, especially someone who doesn't have experience in the whole process of what it is. But let's jump back into the video. I don't want to talk too much.
Hey, Avi, is there any way that we could possibly...
As seen in this official statement of information filed with the Secretary of State of California, Avi Cochlany is one of the owners of M Development LLC, along with his brother Tammy Cochlany. Both individuals are named as beneficial owners of the company. Furthermore, note that the type of business is labeled as construction, development, and remodeling. M Development is important because they had been the previous owners of the Ace family property from 2016 until Austin and Catherine moved in. As seen in this permit application from 2017, M Development is listed as the owner of the property during the development and construction of the Ace family compound. The property only ever had something called an owner-builder permit. An owner-builder is what the term indicates. The person owns the property and acts as the general contractor on the job, and either does the work or has employees or licensed subcontractors work on the project. In this case, the owner-builder is Avi, and he was never legally required to have a contractor's license, and the Ace family always knew this. Catherine was correct in saying that T&L was technically the only licensed contractors, but under the owner-builder permit for the property, it was completely legal for T&L to work as subcontractors under their unlicensed general contractor Avi. This would have been all over the paperwork they signed. On April 11, 2019, M Development LLC's Statement of Information was legally changed to include Ace Hat Collection Incorporated, Austin, and Catherine as officers of the company. The business address of the company was even changed to Austin and Catherine's home address. Also, note that the type of business for M Development LLC changed from construction, development and remodeling, to entertainment. Catherine's signature is at the bottom of this paperwork.
This is crazy because why would they go into this process as an owner builder? Like, why would you even risk being in that situation? I think it's just mind-boggling that they would even put themselves at risk like that. But let's continue on, and I just want to really get into the weeds of the financing portion.
The property is ineligible for resale unless the owner-builder has lived at the property for at least 12 months. One loophole to this situation is a quitclaim deed. A quitclaim deed is an instrument used to transfer real property, such as real estate. The exception is that they can be used when a property transfers ownership without technically being sold. That is when no money is involved. Therefore, no resale occurred and the McBrooms can officially become owners. They likely exchanged money for the property outside of the quitclaim deed. Since quitclaim deed transfers are considered gifts, they are typically used between family members or business partners transferring property interest. While still partial owners of M Development, Austin and Catherine entered into a quitclaim deed with the Cochlany family. They transferred the deed solely to Ace Hat Collection, and subsequently Austin and Catherine removed themselves as owners. I believe the McBroom family became temporary owners to make the quitclaim transfer more legitimate, and possibly for tax reasons too. It also makes me believe they were always aware that their general contractor never had a license, since they were aware of the owner-builder permit, and they went through all that trouble to disguise the sale of the property.
We never got a certificate of occupancy. We are not legally able to be occupants in our home that we've been paying for, that we purchased for almost 3 years. We have never had a certificate of occupancy.
This is one thing that I want to explain about quitclaim deeds, guys. A lot of times people are using these quitclaim deeds to get through loopholes like they did and creating more trouble for themselves, just trying to transfer. I see a lot of this happening, quitclaim deeds, when individuals are trying to transfer something out of their name and transfer into a LLC. And I try to tell people all the time that when you do things like that, from a lender's aspect, the problem that you run into is that's not what I underwrote the loan under. I underwrote the loan underneath your name, and you're doing a quitclaim deed to transfer it over into a LLC. That then breaks a clause within the contract, which allows me to call the note. Calling the note means that for whatever reason, you broke the contract and I need my money right now. We're not going to do 30 years anymore. We're not doing 20 years. I need my money right now because you broke the contract and you changed the name on title or deed or whatever, right? You went and changed that without permission. That's not what we agreed to, and you did it anyway. So with these guys, they're going around and they did a quitclaim deed to get around a loophole, which in my view, as a lender, you just created more trouble for yourself in the very end. But that's what they wanted to do to try to get past this whole owner-builder scenario with them living in it for, or being in the property for 12 months. So they went ahead and got past that by doing a quitclaim deed, which really caused more trouble for them than they probably understand. But let's go ahead and continue on.
Were never legally allowed to live at the property. In July 2019, Austin and Catherine took out an almost $9 million mortgage loan with 5 Arch Funding as the lender. In the loan's agreement, the conditions were that the loan was for business purposes, and under no circumstance shall the borrower occupy, establish, or use the property, or any part thereof, as borrower's residence or residence of any principal.
This makes no sense. You knew that your contractor didn't have a license? And this is the weird thing when it comes to lending, is this is the reason why there's so much paperwork, and this is the reason why they probably went to a hard money lender, is when you go to a traditional bank is gonna ask for permits. We're gonna ask for, licenses. We're gonna ask for all these things. And borrowers always complain about being slammed with so much paperwork. So it's in a way to protect you, and it's protecting us as a lender. We do not want to lend and run into this situation, because what is the number one thing that happens when a borrower gets into trouble and they realize, oh man, I'm gonna have to come up with X amount of money? They do what the Ace family did. They just throw the keys back at the bank and say, hey, look, we didn't know this, we didn't know XYZ this, and they throw the keys back and they say, you take care of it. And that's the reason why it's so important for people to have skin in the game.
And by making this their permanent residence, Catherine and Austin committed mortgage fraud. They were never legally allowed to occupy the residence because of this.
Let me tell you what, the mortgage fraud is strong here. Okay, so why is this important, guys? Well, this is important from a lender's aspect because you just broke the contract that we agreed on. I'm giving you almost $9 million, and you therefore are supposed to uphold your end of the bargain. And your end of the bargain is, I don't want you to live in it. I just want this to be used for business purposes. Now, a lender lends money based on underwriting. And if I'm underwriting this as if you are using it for a business or you're renting it out, you're just using it for all business purposes, that is completely different than you doing a consumer loan, that's what it's called basically when it comes to someone living in it for residence. There are total different rule sets when it comes to someone living in a property versus using it for business. And it is super important because there are just certain things that when it comes to someone living in a property versus business wise, it's just something that you have to follow. I personally never want to get into a consumer loan where I'm lending to someone because this is their primary residence. There have been plenty of times where you go check, our lenders go check and make sure. And once we find out that you're living there, I'm calling the note. I'm calling it. Because I cannot be liable for lending to people that are using it for a primary residence. That's a no-no, and that is a different type of credentials for a lender that you need. A lot of red tape when you get into primary residence versus business, and I'm not gonna be liable for that. So I'm calling the no because it states exclusively, this loan is for business purposes and under no circumstance shall the borrower occupy, establish, or use the property or any part thereof as borrower's residence. And that is for a reason, guys.
Guess what? Someone just offered to buy our house for double the price we bought it for.
You're lying.
I'm dead ass. I wouldn't lie about that.
No.
You know I wouldn't lie about that.
Okay, so what?
For double the price we bought it for.
Hell no.
No?
Hell no. No,
Yeah,
no.
I would have to
no,
agree.
no.
I agree, because I don't think we should ever sell our house.
No,
unless
never.
it was just something like absolutely ridiculous.
That is so much video
literally,
evidence,
like,
man.
scammed. And it's so crazy because people use that word so lightly when it comes to us, like the Ace family. Oh, scam, scam, scam. And it's like, no, we've never scammed anyone. We've been scammed multiple times over and over and over and over. And
in reality, like, you guys got scammed.
remember when Austin went in the jet ski and like the neighbors were complaining and this and that, and we didn't really speak on it because like, well, now I can finally speak on it. So I'm gonna speak on it right now. There should be nothing wrong ever, ever, ever with an owner of a home doing anything he wants with his pool. You got a pool, you freaking happy as hell. If you want to put a freaking jet ski in it, you put a jet ski in it, right?
Except you signed an agreement with your lender stating that you would preserve the property and not do anything to damage or impair it.
Yeah, that seems like you're preserving the property. Come on, man.
But this is the issue. There was no retaining wall built around the bottom hill of our house because the builder didn't build one. He didn't get a certificate of occupancy. So our builder actually took it upon himself and built a whole entire retaining wall.
Is this the builder that didn't have a license?
On our property.
The guys, listen. This is how absurd that is. You live on a big mountain, hill. Soil erosion is real. It really is. So when you're running a jet ski in a pool and water is being pushed out, going downhill, what does it do to the soil? It erodes it. Can that cause issues for your neighbors? Yeah, 100%. Can that cause issues for you? Yes. Can that cause issues for me being the lender on the property that the property could probably fall off of the mountain, off of the hill? Yes. And then you've got video evidence showing me that you're doing it. And then you tell me, oh, you should be able to do it because you put up a retaining wall from a builder that didn't have a license. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Let's use some common sense here. Yeah, I would call the note too. I'm calling it. And I need to call it so I can put someone else in there that will take care of the property, not destroy the property, and make payments on time. That's what's gonna happen. You guys can be called out on multiple instances of destroying the property, not making payments, people build on the property that didn't have any permits, mortgage fraud, all of those things. Yes, I'm calling the loan. Because just one of those things can cause me issues, not four.
Also had cracks in it.
Maybe.
My mortgage, like I do every month, every on time. Like if you know me, you know that I pay my fucking bills. Like for people to say,
Do you really? How can we trust you?
for people to say that we don't pay our bills and that we're going broke.
You also own 2 office suites at a commercial building and you are delinquent on property taxes for both. That means you don't pay your bills, my love.
It goes and then it comes back. And I'm like, what the hell? Why does money just come back into my account, right? Because I do all accounting and look at everything. I'm like,
Let me tell you what, guys. This is laughable. It really is. There has not been one time where I have rejected a borrower's payment because they quote unquote, I didn't want the money and I don't want to be their lender anymore. Not one. You know the reason why? You know the reason why? It's because that's what I'm in the business to do. I'm in the business of lending money, making interest on it, and then that's it. I don't want to take over properties. I don't. Most lenders do not want that. They make money off of lending money, not taking over properties. The only reason why I would ever reject, and this has happened, reject payments from someone is because they are in foreclosure. We are working, we are going through the process. They are 6 months, 5 months, 3, whatever how many months behind they are, they're in the foreclosure process. Or you have broken the contract and I'm going through the foreclosure process. I want my full amount. I don't want payments. I want the full amount. That $8,850,000, I want that. I don't want the $10,000 payment. You give me that, we good. You give me anything less, I'm not taking it. I'm just gonna go through the foreclosure process. And that's what happened. So she's trying to say like, oh, well, we tried to pay them, but they wouldn't take our money. They wouldn't take it. It doesn't work like that, guys. It doesn't. She's trying to give you some fluff there. It's something that you did. There's something behind it. And what's behind it is you broke all these rules, including non-payment. When you don't make payments, that's it. That's it. You already broke tons and tons of rules. Non-payment? No. That's it.
I'm like, whatever, you know what? I'm just gonna freaking keep living my life, keep doing what I do, just freaking be positive, just stay positive, Catherine, stay positive. And then one day, I'm on like Instagram or something, someone goes, why is your house under foreclosure? And I'm like, what the hell? My house under foreclosure?
Shock. So let's get into some other stuff here, guys, really quickly. So we know that currently they had 2 loans on their property. The first loan was for $8,850,000. There was a second lien on the property for $1 million, which kind of baffles me because normally lenders do not go up to that high LTV. I would say that the property is worth about $10 million and they went up all the way up to about a 98% LTV. Now that's stretching it, but the only reason why that normally happens is because you're doing a loan or a HELOC or a second mortgage on someone living in the property. When it comes to investments, you will only go up to about 75% LTV, not up to 98%. But that's neither here or there. But here's the issue. So they owed $8,850,000. That's what they owed. And then when they didn't make payments on their mortgages, you include all of the fees, all of the closing stuff, all that stuff that they're gonna package into there, all of the interest. Now, also remember, guys, you guys may not know this, but once you go into foreclosure, you go into what's called a default rate. And that default rate is normally really high. So let's just say that they were at 7, 8, 9%. Let's just say there were something around there because they got a hard money loan in California. That default rate is going to go up to 16, 18, 19%. So their payments could have went from $10,000 to $18,000. You know what I mean? So with that being said, you're getting that default rate. You're getting that default rate and it's adding on to the loan. And what their loan ended up being at the very end of the day, they owed $9.560 million. That was the total amount that they owed. Now, here's the funny thing about that. The second lien holder on this property was stuck behind that huge first. So they had to make a decision. Do I let it go into auction and lose to someone paying just $9 million or $9.5 and I end up losing all of my capital? No. So what did they do? They went into the auction and they purchased the property themselves. So the owner of the property currently is the second lien holder. The person who put that $1 million up, the lender who lent $1 million, they are the owner of property. That was the only way to preserve their $1 million lien or they were going to get wiped out. So totally, they bought the property for, like I said, $9 million and $74,000. So 9.074 is what they bought it for. So they're into the property altogether about a little bit over $10 million. And the property is probably worth $10 million. They bought the property for exactly what it's worth currently. Now, this was a bad decision by everybody. I don't know why the lender would max themselves out like that, but regardless of the fact, that's who currently owns the property. The second lien holder went ahead and bought it versus losing all of that money. They could have lost $1 million plus, but instead now they have a big, $10 million property that probably needs to be fixed up, that probably has a bunch of errors when it comes to repairs and things of that nature. And it's probably got a lot of other extra stuff. Now, the second lien holder probably will go after the Ace family for additional fees that they lost. I don't know if the first lien holder will do that also, but these guys have a long road ahead of them as far as this foreclosure goes. So I hope that you got value out of this content, guys. I'm gonna need you to watch this next video here. It will help you get into your first rental property, learn all things real estate and financial. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.